Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, let's just check we're live. Let's get the link. And we should be good. Throw that in there. Now, I tried to set up a bot, so that's what all the messages are. In the chat. I don't know how this thing works. So if it doesn't work, then it is what it is. I just thought it'd be easier to throw in a bot if it works. But we'll see. I don't know what I need to click. Yeah. So anyway. So there we go. Oh, I didn't change the thumbnail. Can you bear with me, guys, just for a bit? This will take no time at all. This is just so we don't get a repeating thumbnail. There we go. I thought I set this all up, but I obviously didn't. There you go. A little bit behind the scenes. There you go. I remember I asked if part 2 would be the final one. No. Okay, so yes, the reason I said no there is, let me just get up the chat in the other window so I can actually read it. Thank you for joining us, Ratchet, once again. I honestly think we're going to be in this for a while. Right, okay, so there we go. We're all good. And this is the last 2 episodes. I feel it. Yeah, pretty much. No. Okay, so there's a lot I need to talk about, honestly. So I haven't done any programming. I've done a little bit of programming, but not much. Mostly I've been studying. This is the filler arc. Holy lag. Yeah, hopefully it fixes up. I think it's good on our end. But anyway, so let's talk about what's going on. Right, entities, managing entities. This, I didn't realize, was a bigger topic than I anticipated. I've been opening up the Detri code. It builds character development. So managing entities is a little bit more complicated than I anticipated. I just thought, well, we just have arrays of, I don't know, arrays of stuff that we can just index into based on an entity struct or whatever, and then we're all happy and stuff like that. It turns out that this is a whole kettle of fish. You know, it's a whole topic that you can go into. Managing entities, how to deal with entities. So what I've been doing is I've been reading the game engine architecture book. So I'll just get this up so you can actually see what I mean. Game engine architecture. Let me know if the music's a bit loud. It feels a bit loud to me. Right, so just make sure it's actually there. The Jason Gregory guy who works at Naughty Dog. This fella. I have volume 1. I don't know why we... Okay, so I have... this is the first edition. I have the second edition. And it looks like they're split up into 4 now. Okay, 2 parts. Interesting. Anyway, so it's a really good book, and I've been reading at the end of the book about gameplay systems. So what I'm writing, what I didn't realize at the time when I started, before I read this book and get this down a bit, is that what I'm actually writing is a whole suite of... I'm trying to do 2 different things at the same time. I'm trying to deal with object streaming, which I didn't anticipate. I didn't expect that I would be dealing with this, which is to do with... So what that is just like loading in objects and removing objects from the engine, and this is very like dependent on different, you know. So this is like very dependent on. So let's just say we have like Minecraft is probably the simplest example, where we have like chunks that we render in, and we have chunks that get deleted as we move through the world. And because I started to work on deleting, this is kind of the beginning part of it, where you have to remove things as, you know, as an events happen. So I started realizing I'm kind of like splitting things off into two. I'm kind of doing two things at the same time, where I'm worrying about like buffers and like updating the buffers at the right time, which is like the prerequisite to being able to do any object streaming at all. And the second thing is handling entities themselves, which is a whole thing that I didn't realize about. So TT was in the chat in the last live stream, and he directed me to a video about how to deal with arrays that need stable IDs effectively. Unfortunately, that wasn't exactly what I needed. It's close, but it's not quite the same. So today I'm going to be kind of like continuing my studies here, kind of exploring a couple of ideas. I'm probably going to code pretty much exclusively in this, so I get this like simplified. We're not going to deal with the object streaming. We're just going to try to deal with how to access different entities. What does it mean to delete an entity? How do we update the entity lists without disabling the IDs? What the IDs mean? How do we access these IDs at gameplay time? So this is all yeah, it's a good book. It's like a general overview if you want to get it. It's just quite expensive. The one I bought, the second edition, was £70. So that was about like $80, like $85 or something like that. You can translate that into whatever. But it's a really good book. It's definitely good for this type of stuff. So I didn't realize that I'm programming very gameplay heavy code at the moment. A lot of what I'm trying to code is very dependent on the actual game that I'm trying to make itself, which is kind of difficult to communicate. That I didn't realize I was doing these three different things at the same time. So this is less game engine development and more just game development. Handling how you update entities is going to be dependent on the game that you have. So if you're having, for example, I don't know, Minecraft, where everything has to be deleted, you know, apart from like the base layer of cubes, like the bedrock ones, you're going to have a very different experience than play, I don't know, like, what is it called? It's called Firewatch, I think. Like games that like walking simulators, like Dear Esther, we've all gone to the Rapture. They've all gone to the Rapture. You know, those, like, nothing gets deleted. All that you get there is just kind of like level boundaries where things get streamed in and out based on the position and a few different triggers and stuff like that. Now I'm in a I'm in a whole different, like, the way I'm trying to do stuff. It's quite simple. Like, I'll explain a little bit more about the gameplay. It's you'd be surprised how simple. Well, I don't know. You're not going to be blown away by this, I don't think, but because it's not exactly groundbreaking. So let's just say we have our spaceship, which is going to be this guy, and he has like a gun or whatever. I feel like I've drawn something I shouldn't hear. But anyway, he shoots a laser. Okay, and you know, it destroys a asteroid, and that's it. That's basically all I want to be able to do. I want to be able to go like beep beep and delete something. The problem is we have like lots of different things here that we've got to think about at the same time. So we've got to think: do we need universal IDs for this? Do I need like a universal ID? That's not how you spell ID at all. You know, ID that then can integrate through them. Do I need to be able to index the individual, like, let's just say there's 1,000 rocks all over the place, right? How do I know which one's destroyed? This is a question that I've got to answer, right? So I can't just go, all right, yeah, check this one, no, 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 check this one, no. If I have, like, I don't know, 1 million of these guys, you know, and I'm just kind of iterating through them with, you know, an N... kind of did this a bit weird, like an N of algorithm. Like we're going to end up like, and then like destroy this one. I'm going to end up in a bad situation, I think. So it's kind of like this whole. The reason that I've been taking so long on this isn't the fact that deleting things is difficult. It's the fact that things are getting trickier to handle. So that is why I'm kind of like. kind of going back to the drawing board here, and that's where we're going to be trying to figure out like a system for my specific situation where we have this lots of like similar entities that are all going to be the same thing, or you can call them actors, that's fine. And it's not necessarily the raycast itself. It's like, yes, it'll tell us that this entity has been deleted, but this needs to be like communicated outside of the physics engine to the right entity. That's exactly what I'm trying to achieve, right? So it goes like, oh, you've hit this one, delete this one. Not, don't check them all and see which one's deleted. But like, how do I update this? It's more after the fact, once it's been hit. Like, you've just hit this, right? And then we're like, okay, which one of these do we delete? When it comes to the buffer. Because the buffer itself is just like a big continuous block of memory. Like down here, right? Where it's got like a bunch of like things like this. It's like, which one of these do we delete? Like, you know, if we have tons of them, that goes, you know, goes on and on and on, and we find out we have to delete this one, like, how do we know to get to here in memory to delete this specific guy? That's the tricky part. That's like, it's like the managing the entities part of things, the gameplay code. It's kind of tricky. We've basically got to have like a signal slot, I think, as far as I can tell, or just some kind of like system. I'm not going to say anything yet that like we need signal slots or whatever, but we need like some kind of event that kind of propagates through the things that can access different entities based on something, and that the ID stays stable. Because if I delete this guy, right, all right, I delete that guy and everything's fine, but then it like messes up all these because the IDs are unstable. Like, it's like I've got to come up with like a management system here where it's kind of like, okay, so things are being deleted. We need to figure out how to delete them in a way that makes sense. There's communication between this and that and all this kind of like gameplay. And this is also specific to my game itself, right? So it's not like you would do the same, like I said, for like DRS or something. That would be kind of stupid. But because I'm updating a lot of things on the CPU all the same time, we're going to have lots of physics going on. Well, because it's, you know, the asteroids and stuff, we're going to be deleting them. At the very least. I don't know if I'll move them yet, but I'll come back to that. We've got to have this, like, idea of, like, how do we update them? What's the data structure like? How do we make this cache friendly? You know, there's a lot of, like, moving parts here that's a bit tricky to get right. And that's why I've been trying to... yeah, it's doing like fire coming out. Kind of doesn't look that bad now. Yeah, so that's kind of like what we're going for, right? So let's catch up with the chat. Hopefully that makes sense. Hi, Lemon Jump. Do you need to know? Do you need to know? Isn't it hitting it and decreasing the HP by 0 to a callback to react? Yeah, effectively I need a callback, but I can't destabilize the amount of entities in this buffer, otherwise it kind of breaks. The problem is that you don't know how the game will behave. That's why most prefer garbage collection, just a giant block of memory, or leave it gameplay. So yeah, it's tricky because this is a buffer that touches the GPU, so it's not like having a smart pointer here would actually help, because this is going to be touching the GPU. My data is decoupled from the actual entity itself, so yeah, that's what I'm going to be using to do. Yes, so Jolt has a unique entity at the bottom. Yes, so I'm gonna figure this out and trying to not destabilize everything and try to make this make sense. So what we're going to do today to start off with, is we're going to start with like, we're going to go back to here, right? This is like, you know, the simplest thing. We're going to try and figure out a system that we can actually delete things. Sparse sets are solving for this exact problem. There's a lot of like, this solves this problem. I've found this out. I'm not just like calling Detri code out specifically, but I do want to talk about like how I found a lot of like, this solves this whole problem. I try it and it's like, kind of. It doesn't quite fit, so I'm trying to figure out like a way to figure this out, because I don't necessarily need to access each individual rock. Like, for example, if we go back to here again, I don't need to be like, okay, the player has, I don't know, blown up the player has done something, right? And then I want to change this to blue. like this specific one down here to blue for, oops, let's go back. Yeah, I want to change this specific one to blue, right? I don't need to do that specifically, so it's not like that's gonna break. I don't need like a super like unique idea. I just can't destabilize this buffer where it, you know, where it touches the GPU. So yeah, we will work with things. I've got my books here, so I'm gonna look. Maybe yeah, I'll try standard Hive. We're gonna try a few different things. We're gonna try and figure out outside of the communication, outside of the buffers, outside of the GPU. We just need to have a stable, at the very least. What the goal of the stream today is to have a way to have a buffer that doesn't, sorry, have a index. Again, I know we talked about this before, so sorry, this is part 3. This is still the same thing as what you did in the last couple of streams, so I know people might be like, oh, here we go again. But the idea is that I want to be able to index into a category of model, of entities, so and not destabilize that and have all the data kind of tied to that entity that's componentized via its properties. Having that update correctly with everything else. So it might be a hash map, it might be a standard Hive. I don't actually know how to use standard Hive yet, so that may be because I'm very C-like with my programming, but we're going to find out. It's not impossible to solve. We've had other programmers around the world. I mean, Looking Glass Studios invented the ECS, so it's doable, right? It's not like a super difficult task. I just need to be aware that what I'm trying to do is a little bit more complicated than what I've been doing. Meaning that I haven't been thinking about this as much as I should have. I've been very much like haphazardly trying to delete things and then being like, okay, that doesn't work, I'll try something else. I really need to have like a plan of like how to handle this specific thing, and it needs to be, again, tailored to what the type of game I'm trying to make. So that's what we're going to try and do. I don't mind going to C++ 26. That's completely fine. I don't it doesn't matter. I don't mind. But anyway, so yeah, this is very gameplay coded. So yes, thank you for joining us, by the way. Thank you everyone. I'm glad you all turned up today. So I appreciate all your support. Anyway, so let's start from scratch, right? Because I don't really want to. So we're going to delete this. We're going to start with int main, and right now we have this idea. So this is how things are currently set up, and I'll explain kind of what's going on. So first off, we have a outer array. Sorry, we have 2 arrays that are inside each other. And what we need to do here is then, I don't know, we'll just say, no, I don't know. Let's do a const expr. So this is not going to change. Maybe it will. So I'm going to change that to uint32, just simple. Let's keep things simple. Rocks. So total rocks equals, I don't know. Let's just say 10 for now, just to keep it like small, so it doesn't take forever to iterate through things. And then the total number of ducks. We're going to say 10 again, and then we have an array of arrays, and this has the actual entity data in it. Right, so this is the current setup in the engine. No, sorry, even worse. It has the entities indices. So these are the indices. Then what I do then is I go, okay. So for the first level inside this, so hopefully this is kind of explaining like cleanly. Let me know if this is not making much sense, because I can always go back and explain like what I'm doing a bit better. So let me go like, okay, so then we want rocks. And how do we initialize a vector with values for the first level? What I'm going to do then is just resize it then. And I'm just going to do it the way because I don't use these containers in my code. So it's a bit, that's why I fumble around a little bit. So count. Okay, so then we can just be like, okay. So for entities dot, I don't know, sorry, not dot, entity type, then I go, okay, doc, then I do like pushback stuff. So what I'm going to do then is reserve, resize. I think I need a resize actually. Resize. Okay, I did I thought I did a reserve. So total. Alright, dupe. Now the reason it's an array, I'll get to in a minute. So rock. Rocks. Okay, now we go like this. And we have 2 for loops. Let me just build these up. Again, I'm just going to do this. And then I'll catch you up with what everyone wants to say, if anything at all. So yeah, this Jason Gregory book is actually really good for figuring out. Can you do this? No, I don't think so. I've just been not doing that for ages. So yeah, this is the first kind of tricky part where I'm started to struggle, but I'm just gonna kind of guess that. Let's do this properly. So switch. So this is us loading code, and we're going to go over I. We're going to cast this to a entity type. Then we case these out. It's not going to be the cleanest looking code, but this is just kind of like how generally things are. And then we just kind of go over these. We're not going to do the debug spheres for now, because they're separate. They have their own kind of like thing that I've got to deal with separately from the entity types themselves. Anyway, so then we just do a for loop. Can you tell it's getting complicated already? So this, oops. J is equal to. So this is the also one of the thing I want to try and do. I want to try and simplify this. I feel like I've overcomplicated this to the highest degree for my specific use case as well. So we're going to try and do that. We're going to try and figure out like what is the minimum amount of work that we can do to get away with this. I should break. That's why IntelliSense is going crazy. Oh my goodness, stop it. And we're going to default because I can't be bothered dealing with the other guy. Just default that. So let's fix my horrendous tabbing because I didn't break. Oops, wrong way. Okay. So we have 2 for loops until rocks. And then we go, okay, based on this like category, we gotta go, okay, so then the actual entity, so the index itself is equal to this. This is where I'm starting to kind of think, hang on. So did we resize? We resized. We should be able to index through this quite nicely. So this is I. Actually, yes, this should be I. This should implicit cast back. Then we go index is equal to J. So there is like a direct relationship between this index and this secondary index, which I don't like. So that's the first thing we're going to try and solve today. Right, so throw that in there. So index is, now you may think like, what's the index indexing into? So we also then, which again is very complicated. For me, I feel like it's just, when I say complicated, I don't mean it's like complicated to understand. It's convoluted is probably the correct word I need to be using. So now we have entity data, and this has the entity datas in. So yeah, if you're looking at this being like, what the hell? Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's I can see that as a total valid response. So here we have like the same dealio again, and kind of gonna do it like this. And each time I create, let's put this up here. Actually, so I'm gonna reuse this like switch statement guy. Cuts, and we're gonna put this up here. And then it's like, okay, so based on the entity category, we have this I, and then we have this like J again. Sorry, I really should be using the correct. So in theory, this stuff happens, like stuff happened here or something. I'm kind of doing it all in one place. But when I actually build up this index, right? Data index, I guess I'll do. I go, okay, yeah, based on... I'm just kind of reusing things, so, you know, bear with me. You... Oh, that's why semicolon's missing. I was like, what? Okay. There we go. Okay, so the data then... So then the data is whatever, right? This is like position. I could make this position actually like... Let's call this position, just because it's kind of closer to actually what's going on. It's not a float though position, so we just have to bear with me saying this is just whatever. This is just anything, so I'm going to put this as this and just kind of comment as I want to put that there. So this is anything. Okay. Right, I'm going to do the same thing below. And I'll explain like the rationale behind this in a minute. Now, in theory, right, you can go, I want to access the, I loop through all the entities. And I is equal to, so this is how it works when we actually draw. So this is the draw code, drawing. And we're going to kind of rearrange this so it makes sense once I've finished typing it out. So then we go, okay, so total number of entities. So these are actually the categories, entity categories. I call them cats, entity cats. It's kind of fun. We delete this. We go like this. Okay, plus plus. Then we do another for loop. So now we've got the categories. Then we go through the actual total number of entities. So this is the actual. It's not entity index. This will be wrong. So this is like just index. I'm going to call it index. Right, and this is entities dot entity categories. Cast that to the enum entity. Oh, get ready to hear the word entity a lot. All right, so then we do plus plus index. Oh, hang on, and also this needs to be the size. Don't need that second guy. Right, so then we can go and standard count. Basically, this is the drawing command. This is like the stand-in for drawing. We are drawing the position, and then I'll just kind of do a what is it called? Then I'll be able to be like, okay, based on the entity index that we get out of this entity, so this would be, so this would be the category. Same deal. Cast this to a category, and this would be the index itself. So it's just like an arbitrary index. That's just an iterator. Then we go, okay. Then we get this index out. And I'll talk through this and we'll work through it. So this is the actual entity index. Actual entity index, right? Then we go, okay. The entity data, which is the final thing. This is the final bit. So again, we just do the category. Maybe I should assign the category actually. Oops. That's not what I want to do. So entity category. No, category. Yep. Okay. This is just to make things a little simpler for us. And then we go, okay, so now we've got the entity category. Then we go into here with the entity index that we got pulled out of our thing. And then we want the position, which is the actual thing that we're actually going to say. That's the actual drawing code. So this actually works, believe it or not. And the final thing that breaks it, so this breaks everything. Breaks everything is when I do this. Very simple. And it's when I go, I'm just going to do it for one array, so it doesn't even matter which array we do it for, but let's just do it for entities, I don't know, for entity type, doc, race. So then I'm just going to take the, I don't know, what element, I'm just going to take any element out. Begin plus, I don't know, 4, right? We deleted the, I think it's the 4th element. I'm not sure if it's like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it should be though. This breaks everything. Okay, so let's read. Right. Yeah, I will explain. I'll slow down. I've kind of typed up like everything like my engine is doing entity component wise. Like immediately, so I'll break things down because I also need to explain to myself and kind of clean this up because this is a mess. Admittedly, this is kind of like grown organically, and I've kind of categories of entities, and this is kind of blah 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 blah. Okay, so yeah, so this is the drawing position. Okay. I own the GPU, yeah. Isn't the category count a compile time constant? Yes. So yeah, the problem, well, kind of. The problem is with that, if I delete all the ducks, for example, I would want to remove the category. So we don't like pointlessly iterating through the stuff that's not there. Not that it matters too much, but that would be ideal. Are you making a vector of entity types? I'm making a category of entity types. So this is kind of the setup. Should have gone with standard array. Yes, we want to actually reduce this. So that was the idea of doing like a, in my code, TT as well, just so you're aware. I'm kind of using my array stand-in is just a vector. In my code, the array class is both static and dynamic. I don't think this is going to be a bottleneck here, lol. What did you say earlier? You said I shared a link in the resource channel. Thank you. To an article on sparse sets. Thank you. I think I linked a resource of what similar container said. Oh, the standard. Oh, yeah. The yeah. So this is the problem. I've got to be with this thing. I think what I may have to do is kind of simplify this whole thing down. And it might be that for now, I'll see what people think, right? Instead of having everything kind of separated out, maybe I just throw it all in one big array. Oh yeah, that's the other problem. I forgot to mention this. Okay, so I thought about that. Now I've said it out loud. This needs to be separate. Right, I can't just throw this in entity. Because this is pretending to be the buffer device address thing. So we can't just say, oh, hang on, yeah, why don't we just simplify this and kind of like expand it as we need it? this is supposed to be like the GPU specific stuff, right? So for each GPU type, so if you look at my code, that's not it. I want to take you to here. So the entity data has to go through each category, which is this is the category type, and it has to pull out like a pointer to that piece of data. So when I do, for example, a buffer device address lookup or write or something like here, right? That's what we just saw. I need to be able to go entity data and then be like, all right, I don't know, the entity, entity category effectively. Entity category. And then be like, all right, data. And then do some writing with that, like do a mem copy effectively. Do the mem copy. I'm not going to write the mem copy out, but I'll just say this is like mem copy here. So it's not like I could shove in the entity data into this. So let's talk through this a bit. Why not ordered map entity data? There is a everyone's saying yes, sorry, Mado, I'll answer that question. So thank you for answering. By the way, these questions are exactly what I need for this stream. So if you are thinking that, oh, I shouldn't have said that or anything like that, no, it's like I need to be able to like think through this. So any input, any questions is very welcome today, especially. Okay, so unordered maps. Why don't we do that? Because it's a possibility that we have more than one struct. And actually we do, for example, the debug geometry, if I wanted to do debug geometry, now we have like a management problem of organizing. We kind of back to square one because now we have like a duplicate problem where we get the same thing again, but it's this instead, and this is like position, sorry, rigid. These would be like the rigid bodies. It's just like debug geometry. So the idea of having the let's see, and now we need to change this to debug sphere, resize like that. And when we create these guys, right? Again, I actually will handle this now. We have to do debug sphere now, and the total number of, we'll just say total number of rocks times by total number of ducks. And now we take that value, sorry, let me type this in, total debug geometry. Geo, let's call it geo, I don't know. This is, sorry, just reuse it in the for loop. And then we want to do like this, and yeah, same deal. So this entity guy is like referring to lots of different structs, and that's the tricky part, where it's like we have structs here that can't go into one big entity, because again, this debug geometry is also one of these structs. This would be in a different graphics pipeline, right? What is it called? What did I call it? I literally can't remember. Oh yeah, debug geometry. Okay, so yeah, so we also have to do a mem copy with this guy, and these need to be separate. Because there's different data in them. This has like double the amount of data per category. Well, because let's just say we have, I don't know, you can imagine a scene more complicated than just two different types of physical entities. But there's going to be way less debug geometry per category, because that's going to tie to more different, because there's not that much geometry out there. Okay, so Sparse set is not far off from a flat map, except it has a map law. So that's why I haven't gone with a unordered map with like a hash, because it's like the relationship's backwards. We want to be able to go, okay, based on the category, get me entity 7. You know, like that. This is my dream, right? This was my dream, right? Kind of just be able to do this. Okay, get rock 7 or 3 or whatever. And then based on that, we could get. And then I was like, all right, yeah. What about? Okay, we did duck there, but rock, right? But yeah, we got 2 different things here that we would have to make. I don't know, like that's the idea anyway of the index. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so use a flat array map instead. Okay, so Nabla has a work in progress GPU ECS implementation. Is that for the data on the GPU? Interesting. I don't think that's what we're doing. Become a C-pilled and use flat entity structs. I would actually like to do that, to be honest. Real C programmers write their own sparse sets. Alright. Can you guys hang on just because I've realized like how hot I am? I'll be back in like moments just to turn on the fan and stuff. I'll just type it in. Yeah. This will, yeah. Yeah, I'll be back in a sec. Ugh. So I'm gonna try and figure this out. Well, try and figure this out. We will figure this out. Alright, I think I'm back. I think you guys can hear me from here. Alright. Windows are open, fan is on. Now we can actually code. Hopefully it doesn't rain. As I get up again. Despite it being kind of like muggy, it's kind of hot still. Okay, so let's figure this out. This is the biggest problem for me. Like this idea of like removing an entity from the list absolutely breaks everything. Yeah, return value is ignored. So there's because it breaks the relationship between the things that were created at load time. I guess this would be load time, and this would be runtime. So, oops. Runtime, right? So we need to be able to delete things at runtime. So that breaks because the relationship between this and this now doesn't make any sense because I've removed one. How do I access the actual entity that corresponds to this? It's tricky because if I go, this is what I've been struggling with the most. So now, let's just say we've deleted something for some reason. I want to get entity type. Right, this is the big problem, right? This is where everything breaks. Like, the actual erasing doesn't actually break it immediately. But when I do, for example, let's get the last entity in the list. So let's just say, I don't know. We'll do this thing, -1. Dot index. Okay, so this is the breaking index. Breaking index. Yeah, because we also, like I said, that we also need to delete. Sorry, I should also make this clear as well. Entity data. And entity data. Okay. So we also need to delete this as well. So we get the last index, and then we go, okay, cool. Entity Data, because we're going to do an update. We're going to update the entity position. I don't know. You know, we want to move this duck around. And we're going to get the breaking index. I call it breaking because it's going to break it. Position equals 99.f. Why does this break? This breaks because the entity is too big. The index value here stays the same. So let's just say we had 7, I don't know, 10. This went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is still 10. And because we've removed one from this, now this has become a entity list of. So the size would be 11 originally. Now the size is 10. This index is 10. And the index and the size can't be the same size or greater. So the index can't be greater. We're basically indexing into something that doesn't exist anymore. Because we've removed. It doesn't matter if we do a delete swap. It doesn't matter if we do a regular delete. Like it doesn't matter what we do here. We could do a delete swap. It doesn't really matter. Now people have said like, oh, just use this system where you have 3 different arrays where you manage stuff. That's what I'm trying to do today. We're trying to do that. Okay, so let's see. I'm a big fan of structs as parameters. Yeah, same. Well, I use variants, but this is I got a lazy UI system now, and now my functions have approximately. Yeah, I feel on that one. 2 parameters is a bit extreme for my taste. Interesting. Leave the ducks alone. Yeah, exactly. But hopefully that makes sense, right? So we end up this is just to get the last element. I wonder if this even compiles. I don't even know. Oh no, not compiles. It will compile, but I wonder if this will run. Let me restart the music. Where is it? Yes. We're getting repeating music. Let's fix it. Not that I don't mind Unreal Tournament 1 music. Well, I think it was, yeah, Unreal Tournament 99 is referred to as the official. Anyway, so let's actually return type discarded, no discard. Yeah. Okay, let's just comment this out because it's completely pointless having data be returned. But effectively, I don't know. I'll do a quick mem copy into nothing. Not that I can, but just so I'll comment it out because it won't work. So that'll be the destination. This will be the source buffer. No, sorry. Destination. And source. And size. So I'm going to do this just so it's easier to kind of figure out what's going on. Okay. So comment this out. And kind of the same deal. But with the geometry. Just so you can like read this a bit easier when you're looking at it. Maybe I should make a destination buffer. Hang on. Is that going to be undefined behavior if I don't make the size of this make sense? I don't know. Can I just do a void star? Or a lazy... I don't know if you could do that. Well, it's bytes anyway, so let's do bytes. Yeah. And this will be 10, I guess, because it doesn't really... Alright. Yeah, okay, so that will compile, but it's not going to... I just hope we don't get any undefined behavior with that. That's going to cause any issues. Alright. What is the repeating music and how did... What repeating music? How did that happen? Oh, it's like the playlist in YouTube. I don't know what it does. It like, yeah, it's like it repeats like the same 3 tracks over and over again. So yeah, I don't really know what that's about. Okay, yep. Right, I'm gonna kind of skip it. I'm gonna do one of these and then skip over it. Alright. But you can see like data index is 3. This is the category. Category 0, which is this thing. You can see how this is kind of working, hopefully. So each index is assigned, which breaks, by the way. We need like I need a way to like preserve. I need a way to update the indices. So I think I need like another layer of indirection. Because this index here is then too big. So I'm just gonna hopefully get here. And that was me. And where was that? I don't think I made this big enough, did I? Nope. My bad. Apologies on the Windows noise. Okay, so this needs to be... like this. And this needs to be the debug sphere. Okay. Let's do that again. Yes, I will. Looks like you've got something to say. I'll just make sure this. I'll try and make this work first, and then I'll go into chat. But yeah, this should be the breaking code. Assuming that it actually did erase stuff. So it looks like size 9. Then this comes through its index 2 for some reason. So that's going to work. I want this to break. Did it really only make 2? Oh, no. Interesting. Why? Okay, let's do that again. I don't know why I came back with 2. That's kind of strange. But yeah, what I might be looking into is like a universal... Okay, so this is size 3. The Dux is size 9. Yes. And we've deleted 0, 1, 2. Yes, so we deleted 4 there. And then we have 9. Oh, so we have 8 indices. And for some reason... Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, sorry, I made a mistake. This needs to be... So obviously, if we're going to get the last element of the Dux, that's what I need to do. Sorry, that'll make sense. Okay, so this should break again. So So 9. There we go. Okay, so that's the actual issue that I'm having all over the place. I delete something from the... Oops. I delete something. The entities fall apart. We get an entity that's out of range and it breaks. It's also like not... This is the most obvious error, but we also then get indices that are too large for everything else that's like beyond 4 that we deleted here, right? Okay, so that's like the problem we're trying to solve here. What's the buffer you're mem copying for? That's just dummy data to explain, like, kind of, this is me pretending that we're doing a Vulkan. This would be like moving things to the GPU. So, moving things to the GPU. It's fake. We're not actually doing that. Mem copy, but it's basically a mem copy from our side. So, okay, so why not just use a simple free list of flat? Why not use a simple free list of a flat list of entities, the index? Let me read that again. Why not just use a simple free list of a flat list? It's a simple free list of a flat list of entities. The index into that list is your entity. Index/ID. So, simple free list of a flat list of entities. I don't quite understand that. It's not your explanation. It's probably me just not understanding exactly. Are you trying to delete inside a loop? No. Okay, so I'm deleting at any point. So this is like an arbitrary. Let's just say we deleted a we deleted a dock for some reason. We killed it. So we crashed into it in our spaceship game. And we've got to keep, like I said, we've got to keep everything separate because these are GPU buffers. And these need to refer to the GPU buffers at draw time to do something. Okay, so let's also pull up a resource. So we have this as well, a sparse set of, so this is something, who posted this? Detree did. Okay, so maybe this has something to do. Let's just kind of read the introduction. So what is he talking about at the beginning? Yeah, let's read all this. I wish I could make this black. I'm in dark mode. It's not currently working. Anyway, it's been a while since the last post. You know, global pandemic. SN04. Okay, great. Whatever. Anytime researching. Okay, ECS. In the end. Okay, back and forth series. This time I'm going to give an answer on those who asked. Okay. An example of this implements an ENT. Alright, whatever. Is quite different from a classical one. Hardly anyone uses sparse sets without knowing the details. Okay. This is mentioned from this post of mine. Oh, okay. So it's raining. I've got to shut the windows. Dang it. It's raining. In a shocking turn of events, it's raining. Alright, back again. Right, so let's dig a little into the data structure. Okay, so the introduction. The sparse set is a structure that many developers are not familiar with or have never encountered for a reason completely unknown to me. In fact, it's widely used in one variant or another, but many developers cannot say what it is despite its simplicity. Okay. I've already talked a little about this data structure, its pros and cons when used for implementation of component model. Okay. I've also mentioned its flexibility, how it can be used in a different way. For example, okay, as a brick component, for a component storage. To keep track of relevant entities in a system that has bases. Okay, great. Well, I'm going to just call it end. Implementation. Implements the first model, a good example of a project using sparse sets. Its system is and act. A library inspired me a lot in the past. There are many ways to use sparse set. For example, in the architecture, eventually chunk-based models. They could be used to track alive entities to quickly retrieve a pool or a chunk that contains them. Right, okay. In short, Ent didn't invent anything but only exploited an already known data structure, bending it to its own needs. In the following section, we will see how sparse sets work in basics implementation. Oh, and how Ent has made for performing. Okay, right. Okay, so interesting. I am going to say maybe. Okay, we'll come back to this. I'm going to kind of bounce around a bit. I'm feeling a bit sporadic today, so hopefully that's chill for the stream. I'm kind of trying to speed run this bit. We're trying to solve this problem of deleting. I've also forgot to time myself, so let's get back on that. No, we're on study. We are on def time. Okay, cool. Ent is great. Hi, Kalia. How you doing? Raining. That's insane. It never rains in the UK. Yeah, shocking turn of events. It's raining. I should have wrote a list that manages a flat list. A free list that manages a flat list of entities. Yes, I'm thinking we need the same thing actually, JTAG. I think we need some kind of like layer of indirection. I'm good, yeah. We're trying to speed run how to handle entities, so we're writing code in C++ outside of my engine, so I can actually figure this out. So yeah, we're trying to do a cool amount of things today, and I'm So any questions about what I'm doing do help. So if anyone wants to chip in and has some ideas, I will consider it, but I will be bouncing around. Okay, so what I'm going to try is we need an extra layer of indirection for entities. We need like a stable ID. So I feel like this entity structure cannot be deleted like this. It's almost let me try doing it like this. So instead of I think deleting things out of this is kind of a mistake. The problem is, does it matter, right? Here's the thing. I might be concerned about something that doesn't matter right now. So instead of that, we go, okay, entity 4 equals -1. Oh, sorry, index equals -1. So we actually haven't deleted anything. The downside is we still need to delete things out of here. We absolutely need to delete things out of here. We can't avoid that. The reason being this is a GPU buffer, so meaning that we have to delete things out of here. Now the problem is with what I've just done is, yes, this size is going to be fine, but we're going to be in the same situation again. I believe that when we index into entity data itself to update the position, that's going to be updated on the GPU. So this is going to be updated on the GPU. This is going to be updated on the GPU. That's why we are changing the position. Right? That's what this is for. This is, again, this is all fake. This is all fake. But anyway, we're still going to get the same issue. So I'm going to probably get the Windows sound effect again. So, you know, brace yourself. Okay, so yeah, and I think it's the same, if I go into the call stack, it's the same line. So we end up with this kind of, we still, because of this relationship here, this is the breaking relationship. It's like, the way you may think, okay, right, escape point, what you need to do, this is what I've tried to do. This doesn't work though, it doesn't scale. So for, well, it doesn't scale. You see what you think. See what you think, guys. I'm gonna type this out and then go back to chat, and think about what you guys have said / want to talk to me about specifically. And again, everyone, it's not anyone's job to help me, by the way. But I will be extra considerate of what you're saying today and try and think about what you're saying. So let's just say uint32 elements. This is just going to make things easier to handle. So yeah, if no one wants to help, that's completely chill, by the way. Your job in the live stream is honestly just to have a fun time, and if you don't find it fun helping me, you know, just vibe out. That's totally chill. Anyway, so yeah, this is what I've been trying to do, right? I've been like, all right, yeah, just subtract 1 from all the indices, and I think this works, but it's like not quite. Oh, hang on, it doesn't. Yeah, so which one did I think I did the wrong one, didn't I? No. Do I need to do +1? I think. Is it that it? What was the issue here? I assume the value is the same, 9. Yes, this should be subtracted by 1. Let me see. Right. Let's see. So, oh, why is that? Oh, that's terrible. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Okay. So let's just go back to deleting things for a minute. Because this is actually what's happening. I promise I will read chat in a moment. I just want to get rid of this bug where everything's kind of going doo-doo. When in theory it should work, but I'll show you the consequences of this as well. All right. So +4. And this is entities, not entity data. And it's not +1 now. Yeah, so let's see. So yeah, index 5, right. So in theory now, when I go to a breakpoint here, we should see 8 for breaking index. No. I don't quite understand why. Minus equals, maybe? Just make sure that operator... That should have done it, but yeah, let's just see. Let's put that... Whoops. Why have we got some mini audio? Okay, let's just put a breakpoint here so we can actually see this value. Nope. But you see what I'm trying to do here. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. That was the mistake. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I made a stupid mistake. Seriously? What was the value, dudes? Oh, here. Okay, interesting. Oh, wrong function. Okay. Final. Yeah, okay, so 8, right? And then this should not break. Right, okay, so that's the idea right now. I think, but this doesn't scale because like everything gets out of order now. Anyway, so let's talk about chat. Yeah, you're a total beginner. That's fine. I'm reading the same book, by the way, guys. Yeah, you might want data in a completely different format on the GPU anyway. Let's see. So let's catch up. I think I took a long time on this one. The free list would replace the 2D array. Okay, so we have a free list. What's a free list specifically? I need to know definitionally what free list means. Obviously that's not going to come up with any. I don't know, C++. That's what I have to Google here. Free list. Does this exist? Right. Okay. So I am trying to listen to you guys. I promise. A free list would replace the 2D array that you have. So I'm quite a bit further up in the chat. It's not indirect over what you have. It's not in direction. Hey. Okay. So I'll read further down. Maybe. Hey, when you use erase or remove, you can change the size of the vector. However, the capacity of the vector stays the same. Right, I didn't quite know that. I probably did at some point, but I can't remember. Why would you not build a GPU specific list from? Why would you not build a GPU specific list from the CPU list? I'm trying to understand why I would need to do that. So a GPU specific list. There's no point decreasing the size by 1. I'm not decreasing the size, but I think maybe you saw. Let me get my code back up. I'm decreasing the index. The index is into another buffer by 1. Why would you not try and build a specific list? A specific list from the CPU. Yeah, seems sense. Hi Razor. How you doing, dudes? Yeah. Okay, so Escape is trying to use the same data on both sides. Wait, he doesn't have the data separate on the CPU side right now? What are you guys talking about with separate? I'm not being accusatory. I'm just trying to understand. When you mean separate CPU and GPU, what are you talking about specifically? Yeah, this has turned into a bit of a. The reason that we're on part 3 is because this is a bit of a bigger task than I anticipated. There's a lot more moving parts. Well, where does your scene data live? Where does these entities live? Okay, so let's just talk through this and see if you can spot what I'm missing. Is that okay? So I'll show you where my buffers are and my datas are. So my buffers and datas aren't the same, like exactly the same, but the data at which they update is different. So anyway, let me explain that. That was a bit convoluted. So this is the allegory of updating the data. This is going to be updated. This is part of the scene. This is the positional data that's going to be instanced. This is the buffer device address. This is separate from... We're not actually accessing the actual buffer itself. We're accessing the pointer to the buffer. We're accessing the CPU stuff, right? And this is going to be a pointer that we update the CPU buffer with. And we only use one. But we do have two GPU side buffers. And this is what this is for, right down here. So we have our... this is the mem copy, by the way, with an unmap and map. Vulkan commands that it's just like a VMA version of like memory copy. But we just have the VMA allocators around. And the reason it knows which buffer to write to is because we access the buffer that we're gonna use. That's going to be uploaded to the GPU here. So we take the model that it's stored in the model, this GPU. We take the category which is going to be used. So this could be like the ducks, the rocks, whatever. And we take that positional buffer. And there's two of them, right? So we have the frames in flight issue solved here. So we have two different positional buffers. We access that. That positional buffer has a points to the VMA allocator. Then we take the thing that we're trying to update, which is the entity code, and we then write to that position based on the buffer that we looked up here. And obviously we also update the push constants, which has the actual pointer to the stuff that we end up using on the GPU. What are they actually called? Ratchet actually told me the buffer device address. It's not actually correct what I'm saying. Okay, so Ratchet has said I build up GPU data, matrices, instances, materials from the CPU data actors. Yes. I think I do too. I think. I'm not exactly sure what you guys but yeah, we'll stop this yeah, if you guys could explain like what the if you have a correct vernacular that you want me to use, I can change. Okay, so your entity position data and stuff is stored on the CPU. Yes. And it's up, and then we update it we update it every frame, for every single, category of types that needs to have this data. Every single frame. So it's every single frame within a for loop. So for each category type we update it. Actually, I don't think this needs to be... Yeah, this can be moved down, actually. This is a bit too intense. I think we can do it here. And let's... I just noticed that I've updated things a little too frequently. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, because we don't actually use this anywhere else. Okay, that's actually fixed a bug there. On the CPU, you access it via a pointer. Yes, that's... And when I accessing via pointer, it's hard because I've called this an array in my code. Like literally, it's an array. That's the category array. That's the actual data that we're going to send up to the GPU via its .data pointer thing, right? So I hope that's... I know for C++ people, this would be a standard vector of standard vectors. Of the entity data. So hopefully that's like kind of clearer. When I say array, that's what I mean. It's just I can make my arrays standard arrays or standard vectors based on the allocator. That's why it's just called array. Gotcha. So the data just contains positions. Yes, it does. Yes, exactly what it does. Yes. I also have an array class replacing standard vector, by the way. Hell yeah, dude. I mean, I use a void star for the mapped pointer. Yeah, I mean, what is mine? Mine's a type T pointer. Yeah, it's just like that, right? So it's whatever the type was based on the template arguments. You know, nothing crazy, I don't think. But yeah, this relationship between updating this fella up here, because actually this is the actual changing of the position based on the physics engine, and accessing it via this index thing is just not working, because I'm trying to like have a global system where we access the positions per category, per thing. So that's what we're trying to solve. Yes. Yeah, I'm also using a void star for a buffer mapped address. So yeah, hopefully that clears things up. So what's a free address? A free list? Someone said that earlier. I've got a free list here, and I don't exactly know what that means. But it might be worth looking this up on YouTube, perhaps? I don't know. Free list. Making allocations and objects pools faster using a free list. What do you think? Is this worth looking up, or is this like a sentence that I just need to Google? I think we need to simplify your scene and entities a bit instead of having array.index, etc. Yes, I would like to figure out how to simplify. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, the reason that we're in here is this has turned into a mess. It's gone spaghetti code mode, and I'm trying to figure out a simplify. Like, how do I simplify this down so I don't? I think I anticipated this being easier than I expected. Yes, so because this layer of indirection, when we have an index that indexes into two different, based on a category, indexes into these fellas. And there's also more, by the way. There's also like struct model that follows the category. I won't go into this, but this goes, you know, this has like uint32 texture index, right? This has the texture index stuff in. This has the materials, basically. So this, I wouldn't add that in there. That's just kind of extra complexity, I think. Because these two can be extrapolated out to all the other data structures if we solve these. So this is weird to me because all my mesh data is in one big buffer. Same goes for basically everything in my renderer GPU side. Really? You just have one big... I'm going to say it again because I don't know the vernacular, but you just have one big buffer device address that you index into? Yeah, I definitely have lots of smaller buffers at this point, but I'm anticipating scaling, you know. Maybe it's too ambitious. Maybe I'm just added headache. So let's try and simplify things. Let's do what other people have said. We can go back to the sparse array as well. Let's have a look at this. So this is the idea that Detri has sent. And another person has sent in XOR, I think, also sent this as well. So what's so special about a sparse set? Yes, that's what most AAA engines do for scale, but that's for later. Makes sense. I'm almost thinking that, hear me out on this one. Instead of having an index, we just kind of use the actual size of the, like, whatever the, not the size of this, but the how do we know what element we're on? Can we do that in standard vector? So I know it seems silly, but if I go it's like I need to return the elements that we did, so like 3. No, I'm trying. The reason I'm saying that is because, like, when we erase, let's just say we have, I don't know, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. No, that's not going to work. Okay. Oh, no, maybe it will. Oh, I'm a bit confuffled here, but let's just say we delete. Okay, so we have that many things, right? From entities. I delete number 2. Now, the actual data structure itself is going to figure out how to shuffle things down, right? It's going to do this for the actual indices themselves. For that particular... Huh. I don't think it's going to work for my case, because I've got an array class which doesn't do that shuffling. One big buffer for meshes, one big buffer for instances, mesh instances, and one big buffer to store geometry buffers. Wow, really? What? Yeah, I have. What do I have at the moment? I have instance data for. To be honest, I just have position data in an instant. I have color as well because I need to change the color of things, but I have color and instance for the regular models, and for debug geometry I have color, instance, and model, which has basically everything that I would need for a debug geometry that has no materials. And we instance over that. Virtualizing textures and large models, or N meshes. I can draw everything in one indirect draw call. Wow, is compute doing the rest ratchet? Nice, that's really sick actually. That you can draw everything in one, because if you have buffers, yeah, you don't have to do multiple indirect draw calls based on model types. I guess my approach would be, I guess, good. I think my approach is going to be slower than yours until we get to like a million different models. I don't know actually. I don't know how the GPUs would handle it. Maybe they're completely fine handling a giant buffer of 1 million instance rendered stuff. I don't know. But I'm having like multiple instances, instant buffers, multiple positional, but I don't know what's faster, to be honest. I haven't actually looked at it. I didn't even think. I just kind of implemented it that way. There wasn't like any decision, honestly. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we can just have a different buffer for each instance category type. Okay, so let's dive back into this. So we need a way to figure out pair category. Let me think. Let's see what someone said in general. Jackie Jen, someone said in the Discord, every time I join the stream, it's lack of experience. Maybe I try my best to explain things accessible. I think it's more my fault for not explaining myself very well. So I do apologize if if people are watching thinking they're a bit overwhelmed by the technicalness. Some of the stuff I've written is very convoluted, and we're trying to simplify it. But anyway, everyone's talking about graphics, which I'm kind of jealous of. I want to go back to, but I've got to figure this out first. Gameplay code is important. So let me think about this index idea in general. The problem I might be having here is that how do I don't think there's a way, right, of If it's just a number and there's nothing special about this, there's no like pointers or anything, we shouldn't be able to know this relationship between the entities and entity data or whatever, like the amount and what index there are. We've got to have some kind of other array that kind of stores the something. Like some kind of intermediate vector. So let's try and figure this out with just like trying our best. uint32. Again, I'm going to read more about gameplay code by Jason Gregory and all that kind of stuff. So I had this is called data index, and okay. Now for the same, we need to make this the same size as far as I can tell. Resize. Yeah, I watched something. TT sent me a link. I just didn't understand. This may be this may not be very good to admit, but there was something that TT sent to me. It was like a video. I just didn't understand what he was talking about. I really tried to understand it. I'm gonna have to go back to it again. The video is great. It explains stuff. I just don't understand how. It was explaining how. Let me get the code up, I guess. It's fine. It's over like this. I barely started watching it. Pazaz work magic containers. This thing, I'm not gonna play it. I'm just gonna go to his GitHub, which I did look. I watched the video multiple times and went through his GitHub, but okay, that's it. I'm just gonna copy this out because it's being stupid. Let's make throw this in log. Right, okay, so this is the... Okay, so I didn't understand this really. So what we have here is... But I feel like I'm almost starting to duplicate this code, so I'm going to try and understand it again. Effectively, when it deletes an element... let's get up the demo code as well, so... Because there's some example code which kind of like looks cool. So let's take this. I'm going to paste it at the bottom of log. Okay, so the music stopped. Okay. So let's just see if this works, right? Let's actually just copy and paste this code into main and just see if we can actually get this to work the way I want, and see if this is actually something I want to try. I don't know why I didn't think of this until literally now, but what I'm going to do is just kind of paste it below. So what this is a way of handling more than... Alright, so we need standard string as standard IO. Now my concern is because I have GPU buffers that this might not work, but let's just try it. I mean, okay, so this is his solution, and we're going to... So he adds a player to his entities thing with an entity struct. He has his own struct name. This is not vector, this is something else. And he has these like IDs that once he erases an entity, it still works. But my concern isn't that. It's more... What are these values, by the way? Oh, there's just XY position. My position... so let's just say enemy 1. And I'm going to try 3 and 3, I guess. Call it enemy 1. If I delete enemy from this, and then I try and do enemy this, does that break? Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, you're right. Let's get rid of the pragma once. Thank you for... Sorry, I didn't quite... No, okay, let's just start again. So, what is that supposed to do? That prints enemy 1. Okay, so that actually has a stable ID that doesn't break based on an erased entity. Okay, so he does... When he does an erase, right, he has 3 different arrays. Sorry, let's catch up with chat. I feel like I've gone on and on and on. Just rambled. Let me see. Sup, man? Hi, Wave. Hi, the Juice. 99,000. What am I saying? 9,900. Okay, so. Okay, everyone's just talking about graphics again, which is fine. React Streamer, yes. By the way, you didn't need the 3rd vector in Paz's implementation. Okay. Yeah, it's just a copy and paste bug that I had. Because macro gods, yes, it's Pazza is goated. I learned a lot of neat stuff from his YouTube. Yes, also good catch. You don't need hidden source, lol. He's got me thinking I want to use. Got ya. Okay, so everyone's kind of. I just making sure I wasn't steamrolling someone who was trying to say something. I hope that's chill. Okay, so the thing I just do not understand is the 3rd. Why do we need 3 vectors? I do not understand this 3rd vector idea. So let's just go to this, right? Do you mind if I... So when he's deleting something, let me... Hopefully, guys, you can hear this. Let me know if it's too quiet or something like that. Let's back off a bit. Hopefully this is good. Let me... Whoa, okay, it's really loud.
Still creates indexing issues. Indeed.
So we've got indexing issues, so this is where we're starting from, right?
In a contiguous container, deletion inevitably causes at least one element to move.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a solution, and this is
Cool.
where things get interesting. We will continue to store our elements in a vector,
Cool.
which we will refer to as data.
All good.
However, we will not access its content directly using a raw index. Instead, a second vector, which we will call data index, will store indices pointing to our actual data.
Okay, so as far as I know, this is what I've done with entities, right? This is I know I've commented out right now, but let's get out of this. So not log. Where's... Okay, so I'm just going to uncomment this. I know it won't compile or anything. Because we've got 2 mains now. So I have an array. I know it's per category because there's more than one type of entity, but I have this guy is supposed to be that. It's supposed to be this. It's supposed to be the data index. That has an index into the position of whatever. It's currently in order, but it doesn't have to be in order. It can be out of order. Anyway.
Therefore, an element is identified not by its location in data, but in data index.
Mm-hmm.
For example, to access the element with ID 3, we check slot 3 in the data index vector. There, we find the position within the data vector where the target value, in this case, D, is located.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's access element 0. Just as before, we look at slot 0 in data index. This redirects us to index 4 in data, which contains A.
Mm-hmm.
The advantage of this indirection is that if elements are moved, we simply need to update their location in the data index vector.
Okay. That is how do we do that? How do we... Sorry, I'm gonna keep pausing on that because I don't understand this. How do we do... Well, we update things in the data index. And I think it tries to answer that, but I don't understand it. So let's keep going.
As a result, the ID remains unchanged and always points to the correct data. Let's see how to remove elements and update the indices. To do this, we need a third and final vector, which we will call ID. This vector acts as the inverse of the previous one. It allows us to map an index in data back to an ID.
So, as far as I know, we have data index that goes to 0, and then that tells us that... I actually don't know.
We want to remove the element with ID 0. The data in
we want to remove element with ID 0, sure.
Index reveals its actual location, A at index 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is tied to this.
We then swap it with the last element.
We do delete swap,
C.
or pop and swap.
To keep the ID vector synchronized, we apply the same swap to it.
Okay, I understand this bit so far, but the next bit I don't get.
To identify which two entries need updating in data index.
What?
This vector to identify which swap to it. We then use this vector to identify which two entries need updating in data index.
Which two entries need to be updated in data index? So if I look at his code, where is it? Let's go to log. I know I've deleted it out of there. Scroll down. Erase. Oh, the music. Let me restart the music. Where's it gone? Erase. Jeez, where is it gone? Alright, let's just scroll down. And then we can just do a find based on that function. So my spelling isn't an issue. Okay. Let's go back because I can't quite remember what he said now.
To synchronized, we apply the same swap to it. We then use this vector to identify...
What vector? What vector were we using here? Let's have a look in the code. We use then the vector to update the... To update what? So we only pop the data, we don't pop the metadata, which I believe is the second vector in this, is the green one. We oh, this gets, okay, so this is the index, this is the data index, I guess. This is the bit I do not get. Okay, so last index, what was last index? RID. What's this? Okay, that's completely useless. Oh, okay, so ID of the given up. Oh, it's a remove ID, interesting. Alright, so let's read the chat, okay? Hello, I'm learning JavaScript. Nailomation, nice to see you, dude. Okay, so the third vector is it's just the reverse ID lookup. So an entity, entity to ID lookup, you can just have the reverse ID inside the entity. What does that, so that, okay, so the reverse ID, I assume, looks up, it looks up the original ID. So I think that's what I wasn't getting. So this ID looks up this guy. So the chicken, can I take a screenshot? Put that in paint. Oh no, my wonderful art. And then select, paste, right? So, as far as I can tell, red, paintbrush. This refers to that. That refers to that. Is that right? The ID is the entity. Okay, so the ID in the data index is essentially a pointer, and you move the pointer to the object. I'm watching a video about computer science in 17 minutes, and the next month I will use CS50. Hell yeah, bro, I love that. Yeah, keep us up to date with your CS50 studies if you're going to do that. It's kind of a great starting point for a lot of different things. So you have to fix that pointer. So if this is my entity. It's got an entity. I just do S for now. I know it's not right. This is my, let's call it data. This is the actual stuff that needs to be updated. And what ends up happening is let's just say I do a delete swap, that's fine. Delete this. Then we need to do a delete swap on, we just need to do a swap, not a delete swap. Just a swap. And then this tells this what to update. So right, so let me think about this. We delete, what do we update? We update, what are we updating? Let's continue watching the video.
Which two entries need updating in data index? Position 6 for A.
Position 6 for A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And position 4 for C.
What? Okay, let's look at the code again. So, what is he doing with the updating, actually? Is there an update, like... So what I'm looking for here is there any like anything interesting? Sorry, not anything interesting. Anything that like kind of updates this fella? Like what is the code doing? I don't see it. So the only thing that seems to happen is we just swap some elements around. As far as I can tell. Oh, and we increment this value, this valid ID. Update valid ID. But I don't think that's used for anything. So let's just see the index operator. That's important, right? So the index operator takes in just an ID. What is this? It's just a uint64. What's a valid ID then? So Hebrew, nice. So you're trying to make a Rust kernel and a custom language that specializes in making OSs, and I will do all this in the 10th and 11th grade or 11th. Oh hell yeah, dude. I've been messing around with NXUI assembly, NXU8 assembly. NXU8 assembly is the CPU that runs Casio FX CW calculator. You can make a raycaster for it. Hell yeah. he uses the ID to put... He uses ID that's in the past. In the past. The end of the array. Nice, yeah. Triangles honestly are a big setup. He uses ID that is in past. The end of the array for invalid ID, so 6 is the same as setting it to -1. Oh, I see. So that's the same as making it invalid. So in this case, 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so how does he handle this then, if that's the case? So if I have an invalid index, and then I try to access that invalid index, what is it going to do? Is it just going to assert? What? Just fails to compile. Oh, right. Sorry, my bad. Let's throw this in. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yeah. We'll just move this out for a minute because it's going to be too complicated to kind of comment it in and out. Let's put a. Let's put it in log. Yeah. Screw. Put it back there. Okay. So let's see what happens when you do this. It's kind of interesting. So it goes out of range. So a subscript out of range. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, so 6 is the invalid index of -1. Okay, thank you. That makes a lot more sense. And I assume that's because we did a swap. And we returned whatever this value was. Okay. Which I assume is too large for our data. Okay. Okay, this is making a bit more sense now. So there is no current way to detect if something has gone wrong. If you try to access something that's already deleted. Right. Also, what the hell are you doing? Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking, honestly. So we are trying to figure out how to handle this situation in my code. Where I've deleted something from the scene. Let's actually run this and show everyone. So let me catch people up who are kind of new. Okay, so the game engine, very cool. I have lots of different things here in order so we can see things being deleted. Now when I try to delete this duck, which has got the debug, oops, sorry, I'm going too quick, which has got the debug sphere around it, there is a metadata structure that refers to both by an index. And so what I try to do is I try to keep these synchronized by once I delete the entity in the metastructure, I also have to update the indices for all these guys. So when I press 0, it's great. Okay, fantastic. Woo! Everyone's happy. We deleted the duck. And then I press it again. Oh, we're supposed to delete the next duck. That was the actual thing we wanted to do. So we deleted this here. And we'll find that, we've deleted this duck, which was not what we wanted to do. We've deleted everything wrong, in the wrong order, right? And this gets worse the more I do it. So if I keep deleting stuff, okay, I've supposedly deleted everything here, but you can see that we've got loads of debug geometry left. We did actually delete all the ducks in the end, but we deleted them in the wrong order because we did it via delete swap. And we can fix this, but it breaks apart if I don't do a delete swap. It completely breaks apart as soon as I start making things move in the game, and it breaks even more when I make things dynamic and move. Yeah, so that's it kind of breaks. So we're trying to figure out in simpler C++ terms with just numbers in here, how to actually handle this situation in our code. So yes, thank you for asking, by the way. Anyone who is confused, please feel free to continue to ask me about what's going on. I will explain. So map, if I get this right, you add an entity index to entity to so if I get this right, you add entity index to entity data. Then you do a swap and pop. Just to answer this quickly, I'm building a little game engine. Currently in debug mode. I'll just, oops, not that. That was my Windows noise, not you. While I read the chat, I'll move around the game. So yeah, this is me debugging stuff. So yes, look, game engine. So if I get this right, you add entity index to entity data. Then you swap and pop the entity data. You will be able to know which entity needs to be swapped. Yes, fire index. Yes, they are, Falco. They are the collision meshes. I've only changed the colors so I can see which order they are in. So they do go from blue to red, but yes, they are the collision geometry. And they're all the same size because eventually in the actual game they are a lot smaller. They actually map to the objects proper. But yeah, we're trying to fix this deletion problem. So yeah, effectively what we end up happening is we have a category of entities because we have different buffers for each different types of object type, because we need to instance render these guys, so we need a different buffer device address for each object type. And right now this seems to be good, but it just doesn't, I don't think it fits my purpose, to be honest, because we still get errors in this code. We would need to like build like another, oops, a standard vector in here, because this is my problem. I'm gonna say air quotes it doesn't scale, right? This is just uints. I hate. Okay, so it's literally just this. So I'm just gonna type it out the way I like. IDs. Let's say IDs dot pushback. Let's duplicate this 3 times. Oops. Oh yeah, this song's sick. It's very quiet though. Because it needs to be automated. I can't just like arbitrarily, so let's just keep going. IDs I equals okay, and as far as I can tell, this is not going to work because we're just back to square one as far as I can tell. Yeah. I mean, this is nice, but all this gives me is like a stable ID in gameplay code. This might be doing a bit more, but this only gives me this because it does a delete swap and everything. It's kind of efficient, but okay. So let's just say that let's just fix this a bit. So when I erase, what I'm going to do is instead of doing this delete swap of the data indexes, I think, which one's which? Data index. What I'm going to do is we're going to set an invalid index because it's just not as convenient to do, because then I can just be like, all right, equals Right, I don't know what it's called, so I'm just going to kind of do my own thing. Okay, so that's an invalid index. That's -1. Or the equivalent of, anyway. So, if... This is how you would fix this, I think. I will respond to chat momentarily. ID is not equal to uint 64 max. Right? That should work. No. What did I do wrong here? Sorry, the Windows noise is not you guys, by the way. Yes, I'm deleting by keystroke. Yes, no UI. I do have UI, but it's I am GUI. I've turned it off for now. What are the errors you're getting? I'm trying to loop through all the entities based on their IDs. Because this would be nice. This is nice, right? But I need to be able to go, okay, loop through all the entities by the IDs. But that's not how he does it, right? I'm kind of maybe getting confused here. Let's see if he can... Because I want to actually just loop through all the data, right? I think that's how we do this. Okay, he's got iterators to work with. Clearly, if I wasn't so dumb... if I... Okay, so he wants to use iterators. He wants to use his... Let's use his interface, right? Let's use it properly. Auto iterator. Let's do contref, because I'm not going to modify anything. We are just writing. Alright. We don't have M data, so let's go... Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It's entities. Then we do this. Then we go IT is not equal to... So he's kindly added another end operator. And in theory, this is just contiguous memory, so it's very fast. It doesn't matter if you use entities. Sorry, entities, I mean iterators. Then we want to standard print this out. Yeah, we don't loop through the IDs. The IDs are, as far as I can tell, not useful for that type of work. Name, yes. Don't you just plus? Oh, right, okay, so const. I was being a bit too fancy there. I will remove that in a minute. Alright, so in theory that should be it, because he's done a delete swap on it. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, that's how you were supposed to do it. Now, does that fit what I want to do? Yo, brother. Yes, I remember you indeed. Hope you're having a good day. Pure gameplay. Why do you want to build one and not choose an available one? Or yes, there's a lot of stuff for reasons. It's a good question, by the way. Even though, it's so generally speaking, I want to make my own game engine because I want to see if I can do it. I want to express myself through code, if that makes sense, and also learn to code is definitely out there. I want to try and be as good programmer as possible. Yeah, so yeah, IDs are for referring to specific entities if you want an entity to follow one or another. Yes, thank you for joining us, guys, by the way, on the live stream. I know this is a bit of a convoluted live stream where I'm like doing a lot of different mad things right now, but yeah, but yeah, feel free to keep asking me questions. I will answer them, even if you've had them before. Do you really currently work for a company, or are you just learning? I used to work for a company. Yes. Okay, so someone sent me something in the Discord. Let's have a look. JTag has sent me a scuffed example of the entity management. Ah, so you have a free list here. Okay. Fantastic. Let's have a look. Okay, let's grab that from my actual... Thank you for sending me that. That's not what we wanted. So this is our Discord server. Anyone's allowed to join at any experience level. Doesn't matter. As long as you follow the rules and are chill. It should be accessible. If you need a link, I can provide one. Otherwise, it's on my YouTube channel. There should be a permanent link. In theory, I should have a bot that works, but... What is the server link, please? Yes, let me grab that for you. So anyone who wants to join, that is fine by me. There you go. Yep, there you go. That should be there for 7 days. So anyone who's watching in the future, just go to my channel. There should be a permanent one open for you. Hello, Pem. How are you doing? Any system IDs? Right, I think I figured out what I was doing wrong, wasn't I? I was trying to iterate through the IDs themselves. So this, you shouldn't do this. This is bad, as far as I can tell, at least. Alright, so let's look at the example and try and figure out and parse through this code. I'm going to copy this into my... I think I already copied this, but... let's okay, so it's on my clipboard. Let's... go into audio, and audio C. I'm running out of places. Audio C even. Alright. Okay, so entity ID. Okay, so this is a C file. Ignore the IntelliSense not understanding what's going on. So this is in .c, that's why there's a bunch of errors. There's not anyone's mistake here. What's the free list doing? Okay, so free list is just another vector generated, recycled indices, waiting to be reused. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, so it's the same type of deal. An unordered set. Okay. So we have an unordered set of alive indices. We have generation. Okay. What does that say? 1 entry per slot. Track current generation. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone can join. No problem. Yeah. I will call you by your Discord name on Discord. I'll call you by your YouTube name if you're on YouTube, just because otherwise it's hard to keep track. You can think of the ID as a pointer, and obviously you can't dereference and delete an object. Alive indices are just convenient for iteration. Okay. Index, free list, alive list, index. Okay, so that's just returning a created thing with this. Okay, very nice. That's just making one of these things. Okay. Destroy. This is the key. So, invalidate the stale handle immediately. Right. Alive. So we erase that. And we... Okay, so that's just a convenient thing to... Ah, okay, so this is the free list of entities indices. Okay, I understand. I kind of like this idea of having an invalid index. And if we have an invalid index... Okay, so tracks generation to avoid stale references to old. Okay. Is alive. I see, so it's very dependent on using this, it looks like. I can't just go... Alright, let's just loop through... No, hang on, let me read this properly. Entity is valid. Right, returns false. Thank you for sending this, by the way. I very much appreciate this JTag. And also, I just want to shout out... Detry codes, you know, as well as TT's bearing with me. Thank you guys. Honestly, it's very much appreciated. You know, hearts to you guys, and also other people who have helped as well. It's a tricky problem. It's a whole. I know it's pretty dry as well. It's not exactly the most fun thing to watch. Not graphics or anything. But yeah, it's all good. So let's read some of the chat. Yeah, everyone is cool here, so it's honestly really cool. And the fact that you guys let me struggle on stream is really nice. Right. So let me catch up. I feel like a bit. No problem, mate. No problem. Yes. How does performance using your extra hash? Okay, so the idea behind this escape point, is that you don't need to swap and pop anything. I just iterate over all active indices. Ah, okay, so you're just moving them into a different list. I see. And store your components or data in sparse sets which match the index, your entity index. Okay. I think I'll get that. Yeah. Hello. Hope you're good. Dimitri, I assume that's your name. Or Dimitri. Anyway, pure gameplay. Don't worry about it. Your job in the stream, everyone's job in the stream, is to enjoy yourselves. You know, have fun, talk about whatever. You can talk amongst yourselves. That's also fine. That's your job, right? Okay, so your job, pure gameplay, is to have fun, in whatever way that is, assuming that you're not breaking the rules. So, hello. I recently wrote and benchmarks handmade. Structs of arrays versus ent. It seems to me your work is kinda same. You have any questions? Yes, it's I'm trying to make a simpler version of that, right? Dimitri, I'm trying to like simplify it, but obviously that's not happened because I have lots of different data structures that I need to keep track of that handle different things. So yes, it is very similar to I wanted to go with the handmade hero type of structs of arrays. That's what I've tried to stick with, but everything's kind of broken down with time. Oh yeah, I'm glad everyone's on the right page with everyone's job in stream. Right, okay, so I do like this idea of having like the alive arrays that just get stored in here, so we can end up. I kind of like that. But anyway, let's so it looks like the size of the array itself is the actual. Yeah, I think I'm starting to separate this idea. Okay, so in my code, oh, where's my code gone? In my code, in general, what I'm going to do is get my code back. Go up here. Oh, and TZ. Did I thank TZ? Yeah, TZ's been very helpful. If I didn't, apologies. So, I think I've learnt a lesson here today. And I think the general lesson is, from all these implementations I've found, the way I am storing the actual index itself is just not going to work. Which is, you know, kind of obvious, but I want to explain what I mean. Okay, so this is my stuff. And okay, so why are you complaining? Right, I'm just going to compile just to hopefully it's just IntelliSense being right, okay, whatever. Oh, right, nothing. Okay, so that's just me being dumb. Okay. What is happening? Oh, mini audio is broken. Let me comment this out for a minute. This shouldn't be here. I really shouldn't be having mini audio around. Okay, let's. Okay, cool. Let's go to main. It's just me copying and pasting code that's causing that issue. Anyway, right. Okay, so what my biggest mistake, I think, is this idea that I can simply store an index and then simply access that index, and then just index into a different array. The obvious thing here is you cannot do that. You have to rely on other arrays themselves. Like not just a number, right? This is just a number, but two implementations I've seen right now have been you actually use the arrays themselves as like indices into things. Okay, I thought I just stopped. And I think that's what I need to be able to do next, is figure out... I like this solution, it's nice, but I think I like JTags one because it's just a bit smaller. There's no bias here, I just think, where did I put it? JTags. Let's see JTags and let's beat it up. Let's see if we can figure out how to beat it up. Okay, so I benched two of the main operations, contiguous and non-vectorized. For scattered info, like my approach is okay. Vectors sparse sets. For contiguous access, vectors is best. Yes, that's what I'm trying to work with at the moment. Okay, so for organizing structures of arrays, this pattern is best. Okay. Template type T. Okay, so let's get Dimitri's as well. Let's throw that in. But for now, we'll do we won't do Dimitri's right away. We'll do, so we have structures of arrays. We'll get back to that in a minute. I want to see how this works in our case. So don't think we have an int main. So what I want to check is obviously sets are slow, right? We know this. But I think you said that's just for convenience, really. So the ECS is... Yeah, Dimitri, don't worry. I'll get your code. I'll paste it on for structures. I'll make some structures of arrays and stuff, and then we'll have a look. If I have time. Just looked at the clock. Anyway, entity, index, generation. So entity creates... Okay, so let's just... How do we do this? So we create everything through this object, it looks like. Ugh, get off. Entity system, I'm just going to call it. I know it's just a name. It's not. And then we do create. And how do we do this? So what I need to be able to do is, based on a category, we need to be able to build up these fellas. Oh, you put a simple example in the code. Ah, thank you. Why do you need categories? Just to simplify the... Let me get your code up. And what am I doing? I'm doing it on my other computer. So yeah, this is a Discord. So anyone who's watching, you can have a link if you just request it. So we'll just overwrite that. Okay, so what do we have here? We have create. Is alive. We have a destroy 2 is alive. Creates E4. Recycled after 2. Interesting. So this gets recycled. Okay, let's have a look. What's that print? Okay, so it's still... Okay, so it's false, thank you. This is actually really nice, thank you. What I'm going to do, though, is... what I want to be able to do is... So for each category and entity type, maybe we won't do categories, but right now I've done categories because I need to have different buffers that will get loaded to the GPU. And let's say ECS. How do I know how many there are? Which I want to be able to loop through these. I don't. Can we loop through them? Active entities. Okay, so let's grab this out. Looks like this is a vector that we can use. All right. I don't know why I deleted that. Standard vector. Entity. ECS, that's my username. Okay, cool. And now we can go dot size I++, and then I don't really care if it displays as long as it doesn't error out. Okay. Okay, it didn't error out. Cool. Nice, got a underscore 250. Why do you need category? A duck and a rock is just a mesh. Wow, nice one, TT. Now you need to implement a sparse set or some kind of component storage. Let's... I don't want to listen to the song for 20 minutes. Okay, that'll load. I don't need to wait for it. Yeah, that would be more convenient. Okay, so... what do I want to do then? Okay, so let's try and implement some of the stuff. Not just entity. So this is the... This would be my main entity list. Okay. Right? How would I use this to index into something else? Or doesn't it do that? So this index value, we have so the entities indexing into stuff. Because I don't just have one entity, I have like more than one. I have like data and more like debug stuff, etc, etc. You know, da 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 da. I would suggest checking out the ent library for general purpose entity stuff. I can't imagine anyone beats it. That's a good point, actually. I didn't know it existed until the stream. So it's something I can definitely learn from, probably. I'd prefer to write a lot of the stuff myself, not because I think I can do better, just because if I can write less code to do the thing I need to do specifically, that's what I would want to do in my position, in my You store a list of the same length of entity storage index 10, where you store the components. Yeah, it's way more fun. I hope that. Yeah, I hope people are agree that this is fun. I mean, the handmade. I mean, I think someone mentioned handmade earlier. You know, it's the vibe that I like as well. I love the handmade community with their just deciding to do it handmade. You know, literally. Even if it's a little rough around the edges and jank. Anyway, so you store lists of length, the same lengths. I'm watching a game dev stream while making a particle life sim. Lol. I'm code maxing. Hell yeah, brother. I do the same. Alright, so let's look at this lambda maybe. Oh, it looks like it cut off some of your code there. If you want to post code, by the way, feel free to join the Discord. Dimitri, I don't know if you have a Discord account. I'm going to see if my bot is going to answer this, if it exists. I tried to have a bot here, but no, okay. My bot is just not working. I'll show you the specs. I don't know why someone who's coding their own game engine can't get a bot to work. Lamau. There you go. There's my graphics card if you're interested. Oh, it did! Oh, there. No, it did work. I just looked away too soon. Okay, yeah, okay. There you go. Hell yeah, brother. So, yeah, you should be able to type Discord if you want to see... if you want to join my Discord, in theory. I literally didn't know it worked. Yeah, I'm doing good. This is a list of component data storage. You'll need the same size. How many entities you have is what you prefer. Okay. Okay, so that looks good, by the way, JTAG, but can I just throw in... This is what I really need it to do. This is my super important thing, right? Yeah, so entity data. So this is the data. Just throw something in here. Just so it has something in there. A ladder bean. Alright, okay, so... 2, 3... And then I need it to... If I delete... What is it? ECS... Remove... Destroy? Destroy. So I'm gonna try this, and if it works, then we're gonna be happy. Because then I know what to do, and I'm gonna be very grateful. Because my concern is this doesn't work. Because this is the... Oops, not that, sorry. 3. How does this handle? And I'm just going to... Yeah. I'm going to do a reserve here. Resize even. Resize to 3, so it actually can do that. What we're trying to do here. And then I'm just going to throw in some default initializer stuff. Should work like that. We just need 2 and 3, so we actually get that written. We delete 2, then I want to index to 3, and do an update. This is the whole point of this. I need to be able to update after the fact once things have been deleted, so the index doesn't. And it looked good. Let's just make sure it ran. It looks good. Yeah, so it didn't blow up. Yeah, so that's fantastic. I'm gonna. Do you mind if I thank you for your example there in the Discord. Thank you very much. Fantastic. That's really good. Thank you. So we have. Honestly, this is very nice. Thank you guys for giving me code examples. Ray Waybird in Discord. I'm not sure who that responds to. Oh yeah, it's just so you can. It's just that YouTube won't let you post a lot of code. So yes, thank you for posting it, Anna, Dimitri. Yeah, I'm doing. I don't know if I answered you there, Zid. ZYD. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm learning a lot. What are you trying to get working now? I'm trying to be able to delete things from the game without everything blowing up, and everything's blowing up right now. It's terrible. Okay. What have we got? Oh, it's a bit late. I would love to keep going. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say thank you all for tuning in. I don't think I need to do this anymore. Let me use my bot. But I'm gonna have to leave you all soon. So yes, my Discord link, if my bot shows up, should be there. Let's see. Okay, cool. Yeah, feel free to join. I figured out. Look at that. Look at that. I figured out how computers do things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna study this data structure to death. I'm gonna really drill this in. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. On my journey. I really hope to have a better entity management system by the next stream, but this is just how it goes when you do things daily. So yeah, I appreciate you all. Thank you all for helping, and yeah, I hope you all enjoyed and had fun. And I'll see you in the next one. All right.